Welcome back. Now we're going to start with the 18th verse of the 37 practice of Bodhisattvas. Sui Pongshan Takdamaye Ni Tsapchen Na Dang Dunji Tap Chang Lar Dogan Degdu Dang La Len Shi Chang Shimba Me Pajasi Lar Len Yin. Okay, although Sui Pongshan Takdamaye Ni, although immersed in poverty and always disparaged by others, plagued, well, these are difficult, by serious illness and torment by evil spirits, taking on the suffering of living beings without discouragement is the practice of bodhisattvas. Oh. This verse describes a situation where the bodhisattvas have a lot of difficult circumstances, such as suffering, poverty, um, disparagement by others, social rejection, serious illness, or torment by evil spirits. As bodhisattvas, they must take those situations onto the bodhisattva path and not let them diminish the power of their bodhicitta mind. So another thing it says here, tormented by evil spirits. Evil spirits can be understood in a few different ways, okay? It depends on the context and tradition, culture, So here it symbolizes inner struggles, such as fear, doubt, anxiety, anger, jealousy, wrong views, illusions, as well as external obstacles such as illness, physical suffering, poverty, worldly desires, laziness, what else? Distractions, keep them from focusing on their spiritual goals, right? Encounters with difficult people who harm their practice and so on and so forth. Mahāyāna Buddhism teaches that all these difficult challenges, whether external or internal, are again opportunities to generate bodhicitta. Bodhisattvas face these difficulties with courage and transform them into opportunities for their spiritual growth. And they would think that I am glad all of this is happening to me, not to anybody else. They really think that. This happened a lot in Tibet, and they really think that. They say like, oh, don't kill this person, just kill me. So they will be able to bring these challenges onto bodhisattva path, even in the face of overwhelming difficulties. The bodhisattvas remain unwavering in their altruism and their commitment, regardless of personal suffering or external obstacles, whatever. That's why they're called bodhisattva, right? Do you know what bodhisattva means? Meaning like they possess an inner strength, bodhisattva. Courageous, actually they say courageous bodhisattvas, courageous, unwavering mind. That's what bodhisattva means. And never, ever discourage it. So this verse also mentions that to be, without discouragement is the practice of bodhisattva. It means that that our determination has to be strong. It's because while we practice bodhicitta, we may face all kinds of circumstances. So we have to remember every obstacle encountered along the way becomes an opportunity to practice compassion, which is an essential quality for anyone on this path, this bodhisattva path. So when we are facing difficulties, we need to remember Dharma practice. If we feel Dharma practice is not useful, that would be a sign of discouragement and disappointment. If you view Dharma practice as useless when it cannot solve your problems, your obstacles, that is an incorrect view. Okay? We can see all these great practitioners went through such difficult lives under different situations, circumstances, but they never lost their strength and never sort of become discouraged. That's why bodhisattva, right? So never change their mind. Because then also they know how to handle this all different kind of situations. They have a wisdom. Now the next 19th verse is Nyamberta Shandroma Chu that Namtuwe Nonda Tobjerjang Tsupawanjer Nyo Mezigni Kawame Pajasi Laling Yin. Though you may be famous and revered by many people and gain wealth like God of Vasharavana, realizing that worldly fortune has no essence and being without arrogance is the practice of bodhisattvas. This verse emphasizes, again, detachment and wisdom in the face of worldly success. Worldly people think if we become wealthy enough, we will have power, right? And we will be able to control everything. And I will tell others what to do. This idea is a big problem for bodhisattvas. The bodhisattva path is about transcending ego and self-centered desires. So bodhisattvas recognize that detachment allows you to focus on the well-being of others. Bodhisattvas are not against 100%, right, worldly success, as long as they are not harmful. Being wealthy and famous can be very, very beneficial or can be very, very harmful. The problem with worldly success is it often leads to negative emotions such as arrogance, selfishness, and attachment. So these negative emotions will destroy your spiritual practice. That's why worldly success can be very harmful if you are a spiritual practitioner. For example, attachment can create dissatisfaction and anxiety. Arrogance creates the habit of how to say, looking down on others, creates a big separation between yourself and others. So rely on them for happiness can lead to suffering. So this is why many spiritual teachings emphasize finding inner peace rather than dependent on external worldly success. If wealth and power are used selfishly, they can cause harm to others. If a wealthy and famous person remains humble, generous, compassionate, that can create positive changes and can be very beneficial, my opinion. So it says, gain wealth like the god of Vajravana, realizing that worldly fortune has no essence. It says this. Vajravana is traditionally known as the god of wealth, right? Therefore, represents the richest person in the universe. Okay? It's because Vajravana, for example, owns 1,000 times everything that this whole world has. Okay? Do you think that's the richest person in the universe? So it says, it's just an example. I don't know how much he owns, but Vajravana. But supposedly, they said Nam tu we known that Nam tu see. Oh, his reach is like Vajravana. The Tibetans say that all the time. Um, so it says, even if you gain wealth like him, worldly fortune has no essence. Most people, and especially non-practitioners, think that this concept that the worldly success doesn't have any sense, doesn't make any sense, right? That's maybe correct for temporary reasons, especially for those people who don't believe in any kind of spiritual practice, that they only focus on worldly success. That's all they care about, and that's all they want. They would do anything for worldly success, right? They don't care about the harm they cause. They don't believe in cause and karma. They totally believe that their happiness is about wealth and fame. And they think that it's important to have a strong attachment to this life and um, and worldly success and so on. So if you are not a spiritual practitioner, then of course, worldly success is very, very important. Very, very important. We're not talking here about that kind of person, right? That's not our business. Not our business. But we're talking about here is people who are spiritual practitioners. So in Buddhism, the key is not the wealth or fame itself, but the motivation and action of individual. So being wealthy could be, as I said, beneficial, could be very harmful for their practice. We're talking about practitioners, not thinking about non-Buddhist or non-practitioners. For them, of course, it's important. That's why, most in Buddhist, most genuine, I would say genuine spiritual practitioners do not focus on wealth and fame. Because, attachment to wealth and attachment to fame has two problems. right? First, when your attachment increase, then it's difficult to liberate yourself. Second, when your attachment to wealth and fame, your jealous will grow tremendously. Jealous can make your mind tighter and tighter. Jealous can even turn your family and friends into your enemies. That's why it says recognizing that worldly fortune has no essence for Dharma practitioners, okay? It's because, first of all, worldly fortune is impermanent, right? And second of all, it is the main source of attachment and dissatisfaction. So when you have worldly fortune, it's difficult to develop your spiritual practice, such as renunciation, bodhicitta. Renunciation and bodhicitta are the foundation of Hinayana and Mahāyāna Buddhist practice. Instead of worldly wealth, the true wealth, the Buddhism, the Mahāyāna teachings, the true wealth is bodhicitta. So the richest people in the world are bodhisattvas. They have everything. Let me tell you, they have satisfaction, they have compassion, a kind heart, patience, wisdom, and because of all these qualities, they have space for all the negative things we discussed above. And they can accept everything, both positive, negative, and they respond only positively, very kindly. Because of their bodhicitta mind. But for those who are not practitioners, of course, worldly success is important. Don't misunderstand. Now, the next 20th verse says, this is important. If you have not tamed the enemy of your own anger, the more you defeat the outer enemies, the more they will increase. Thus, with the army of love and compassion, subduing your own mind is the practice of Bodhisattva. Beautiful. I like this one. That means if we have not subdued in the inner enemy of anger, hatred, then external enemies will only increase. Teachers say, if you kill out of anger, your enemies will be never ending. If you kill anger itself, that will kill your enemies forever. Keep that in mind. So once we have overcome anger, there are no further enemies in the world outside for you. If your anger diminishes, then there is no action done in anger. So in Buddhism, whenever anger arises in your mind, it is seen as one of the most dangerous emotions. So it is necessary to recognize it as an enemy, as something that can really harm you and will cause problems with others and lead to tremendous suffering. So even if you win against others, but unresolved anger will continue to harm you and create more enemies in your mind. If you kill one enemy to get rid of that person, right, then more people of that person's side will try to kill you back. Therefore, fighting with external enemies never works. So this verse encourages focusing inward and taming your anger with the army of love and kindness and compassion. So the real enemy is only one thing, that is anger itself. So we cannot allow it to exist in our mind. The antidote to that is love and compassion. When your heart is placed with love and compassion, there will not be enough room for anger. Love and compassion cannot coexist with anger, for sure. And when you have anger, hatred, it's just like a sharp thorn in your feet, and you are the only victim who suffers. Anger itself is suffering, and the one who has anger will naturally generate suffering. Shanadeva, remember, said that if you walk on the ground and it's hurting your feet, you might want to cover all the ground with leather so that you are protected from the suffering of prickly ground. He said, where would you find enough leather to cover the entire surface of the earth? But if you use leather just around your feet, then it is as if the whole ground has been covered. So that's very nice, right? So anger will first, anger will make you suffer. Then anger, gradually make the people around dislike you, right? If you are very angry person, nobody wants to be close to you. Dangerous. So this verse suggests that true strength comes from within. When you get angry, the first step is awareness of the anger as it arises in your mind, and observe the anger without judgment. Just observe. Even teachers say, like even a short pause can create a space between the emotions and your reaction. So when you get angry, sometimes walk or gentle movement helps your emotion a little bit calm down. Sometimes when you get angry, guidance from a teacher or Sangha member helps you navigate challenging emotions. and understand how anger harms you more than others, causing mental suffering and damage in your relationships. But we have always regarded the enemy as something outside of ourselves. But this verse says that is a total mistake. So if we do not subdue our anger, we will continue to experience enemies. It doesn't matter if this person makes mistakes or not, we will still find a reason to hate them. Simply, it's because there is the angry or the energy of anger inside us. So this verse suggests that if you want to stop having external enemies, then you should eliminate your angry mind. Then all external enemies are eliminated. In this way, outer enemies should not be a problem, even if they are there. They would not be able to harm you. So this is the important way to control our anger. Anger is a big problem in human beings. So the creator of enemies is one's own anger mind. So that's how Bodhisattvas look at the people who harm them. Oh, I can't get angry. So it's important. Now the next 21st verse is Ndot beyond the Lansi Chadanda, Chatsum Chachang, Sipan Peranger, Kala Shen Chak, Giving upon them, Talafon, Jasilane. Sensual pleasures are like salt water. The more you use them, the more desirous you become. Thus, when something gives rise to attachment, giving it up immediately is the practice of bodhisattvas. This verse deals with taming attachment, right? The comparison of sensual pleasures to salt water suggests that attachment to them doesn't lead to satisfaction. Just as drinking salt water makes you more thirsty. They said that. Is that true? I never drink salty water. The more you drink makes you more thirsty. Is that true? Oh, see, your science, you know that. Okay, then this makes sense. So drinking salt water makes you more thirsty. So pursuing sensual pleasures increase craving rather than satisfaction. That's what it means. So if we allow ourselves to give into craving, we will never have enough, never have enough. We will never be happy. That means we never have enough. That means we'll never be happy. So generally speaking, everyone has a different tendency to what they're attached to. Some people like to, eat good food, but may not care so much about clothing. Some people like to wear high quality clothing, but may not care so much about food. So therefore, the food itself does not possess the nature of good taste. The tastiness of food depends on individuals' habit and desire. For example, people like to eat meat out of their desire for delicious food, not because they are hungry, but only to satisfy their desire for the taste of meat. But eating meat causes many animals to be slaughtered. So therefore, this verse suggests we should not be attached to things like food or clothing if we do not have attachment to them. Then any food, any clothing will be good. So there are two ways of getting rid of um, uh, sense object. One is literally to give them up, right? The other is to abandon attachment to them. Which one you want? For example, I give you an example. Milarepa, right? Milarepa, you know Milarepa? Milarepa give up all sense pleasures to meditate in solitude. And his teacher, Marba, right? Marba took sense pleasures onto the path, using them as a practice. Marba married, has a wife, he has a son, he has lots of gold, all that. Marba was Milarepa's root teacher. So Milarepa give up everything, okay? Nothing. He owns nothing. Marva owns everything, but he knows how to take them onto the path, which means Marva give up attachment, even though he has all these things. Mila give up all things, then he doesn't have any attachment to them. That's two things, right? So if we cannot do both of this, then we should live a simple life with satisfaction. That's what I try to do. Because this both I can do both, cannot do both of this Marba and Milarepa did. But I can just have a simple life with satisfaction. So it says, when something gives rise to attachment, giving up it immediately, right? It says in this verse. It doesn't mean giving up food, clothes, but give up attachment to them, basically. Find a contentment with them. Because a content mind provides peace. So here, give up means giving up desire and attachment, because in the long run, those are harmful. This doesn't mean that we have to make a huge change immediately. It may be easier to start with small changes and gradually sort of increase. By doing so, we will know through our own experience that simplicity brings more peace of mind, satisfaction. As I said, there is nothing wrong with gathering wealth as long as we are able to transform them into conditions for spiritual development. But it often doesn't happen that way. That's why Bodhisattvas live very simple life, and that is also practice of renunciation. Renunciation is to appreciate what we have, to enjoy without clinging, and to realize that this precious human life is capable of achieving enlightenment, and to understand samsaric happiness has the nature of suffering. That's the renunciation mind, the practice. That's why the path is all about how to gain ultimate happiness. I think the problem is we don't understand and don't see samsara is the cause of suffering. If we see it make us suffering, then we will do something and get rid of suffering. Like, when you are thirsty, you're looking for water. You're not going to give up until you find the water. So if you see attachment to samsaric pleasures develop suffering, then you really want to escape it. Just like a thirsty person looks urgently for water, right? That's the beginning of renunciation and ultimately bodhicitta. But the problem is people trying to so hard changing, jobs and relationships and thinking, this time it will bring peace and happiness. But no matter how much they rearrange their situation, the game is still samsara. It's like someone, it's like someone stuck in a burned house who keeps moving furnitures around to get more comfortable instead of realizing they need to get out, right? But we are just within samsara. We try to change these things in here and there. Oh, this time this will make better, make me more happier. But just the we are in this samsara. Your house is burned, right? But you think like inside the house, you go different places. Okay, maybe this would be better, but just basically your house is burning. Doesn't matter inside whatever you're doing. So we don't understand that, the samsara. So this verse says that you should view all samsaric pleasure as indulgent in drinking salty water. See, you should find real water when you are thirsty, not salty water. When pleasures give rise to attachment, they bind your mind and creating strong desire on external conditions for happiness. So the solution to this attachment is the instruction, give up it immediately, Ngulchu Thokmé said. Give up it immediately. It's not about rejecting all pleasure, but about understanding that the nature of pleasure can lead to more suffering. Okay? Now, this completes the section of the text dealing with training in relative bodhicitta. There were two sections, right? First, there was the explanation of the main meditation practice of bodhicitta, practice of exchanging ourselves for others. And then the second, there were 10 verses dealing with the post-meditation practice and how we should work with various situations. So the basic instruction in those 10 verses was how to deal with circumstances that create disturbing emotions, and the importance of maintaining bodhicitta, love and kindness, and compassion, and practice and patience and post meditation. So that's the summary of all those verses, okay? So here we finished relative bodhicitta meditation. And the next verses are about ultimate bodhicitta meditation, okay? So I'm going to stop here, or we're going to recite the second chapter here, and then